Well, good morning, everyone. Thomas Montgomery. It's Friday morning, August 1st, 2025. We get together most weekday mornings to talk about strategies, tips, techniques, share success stories, and support each of you. My screen should be shared here today, and we're going to go through, I think, a really interesting topic, a way that we could generate an additional revenue stream for you while helping entrepreneurs in your community. So, if all's going well, my screen is shared. It confirms we're on August 1st. And we've been talking about setting up a branch office. And I'm not here to push you to do it. If you want to own a branch office, lots of benefits. There's more information about that on 509pacific.org, our primary nonprofit website. There's also some trainings on there that you can get familiar with. Today, we're not really going to talk about that big picture of why you might want to consider having a branch office, but instead, let's drill into some practical aspects that if you were to have a branch office, what can we do to better help the community, to better serve the community, and add a meaningful new revenue stream for you? So, background, and as we've discussed frequently in most of our sessions, so we are a 501c3 nonprofit, and we've been fortunate to apply and receive a grant. The grant has some specific requirements, or what you might call mandates. And so, with that mandate, the three mandates, the first of which is we are responsible for increasing financial literacy. And that's not so much general of, how does savings accounts work and why you should save for retirement, but more so on business financial literacy. And frankly, these morning Zooms fit into that. Secondly, we are giving away free shelf corps. You might say, well, why would you do that? Well, most small businesses need money to start to grow to reach their potential. What we know is they need to have a fundable business if they are going to get funding. Most of them don't know what that means, so we need to build financial literacy. And then, secondly, they need to have a fundable entity, so we provide that. I see Ken states that there's no sound or picture. Do the rest of you see my shared screen? And of course, hear me? Could anyone respond yes or no? On my end, it looks like we're okay, but is anyone else? Yeah, everyone else is fine, Ken. So I'm sorry, I'm not sure where your issue is. And then thank you. And then our third mandate is to really leverage one and two to get capital in the hands of small businesses because talk is cheap, information is free and all over the internet and with AI, but ultimately we need to get money into the hands of entrepreneurs so they can start, so they can grow, so they can hire employees, so they can improve the tax base, so they can contribute to the community. So that's the threefold mandate that we're following. Then we kind of have two masters or two target audiences. We have entrepreneurs to educate, to give away free shelf corps and get them money. And then we also have distribution partners like many of you as a distribution partner, and again, you can become one free and easy on 509pacific.org. We call that the reseller, and then reseller role. Then the more advanced role is the branch office, which is what we're talking about today. So, what do we know from a financial literacy perspective about having a fundable business? The fundable business needs to have a unique commercial address. That is instrumental. So, no, we can't use our residential address. No, having a shared virtual office doesn't work. We need to have a legitimate commercial address that the business is associated with, that we use with the IRS for the EIN, that we use with the Secretary of State, that's referenced consistently buy that business? Well, a lot of folks, they don't own a building like you or I might. And in many cases, they're early stage, so they don't even have that commercial address. So guess what? You and I can fill that gap for them. So we're doing that already. And we'll talk a little bit about that. We just moved into our new office yesterday. And then, secondly, we can replicate that in your community if you would like, which would allow you to be able to provide a local address for small businesses in your community and be able to monetize that. So here I'm on Cheap Business Address. So this is one of our websites and it's related to our commercial address. Now, we provide the commercial address for free to the participants in the free shelf Corp. They get the address for free. However, they do pay for mail forwarding, of course, because we got to get the mail from here from us to them. So their official business address is here at our new corporate office, but they're able to legally, ethically use that address for the purpose of their business. And again, if we want to replicate that in your community, we can. So let's kind of look at how we have it set up. And we don't have to replicate it exactly in your community, but let's go through how it does work. So on the website we have, and we can build out a separate website for you or integrate it into your general branch office website. It could be separate page, for example. But let's just go through how we present it, and then we can kind of explore what you might want to do different. So we educate. A true business commercial address improves the credibility of your business and increases access to capital. Most banks and lenders do not accept residential or post office boxes, and shared addresses through virtual offices are often red flagged, and that's true. So that's the problem. They don't have a good address that affects their credibility, their fundability. So why don't you and I solve that problem for them? Thus, every business should have a unique business address that we make affordable and easy. So these are two new pictures of an office in our new commercial office building. If you're going to replicate this in your community, you can pick, you'll need to own the building, right? So we'll facilitate you getting financing to own the building. Can't really do commercial addresses in a leased location. So we would want you to own the building, but financing is available for that. Now you can determine, do you want more of an urban feel or more of a suburban feel? When we designed this, we really wanted to have a lot of open space, a lot of light, a lot of natural light, a lot of greenery. So in our office suites, you can't really see there, but there's dormer windows. Those don't open, those are static, those are solid, but there's dormer windows over each of the individual windows, which of course do open. And then on the side, this is the same office. This is office 107, if I recall. And then some of them actually have patios or balconies that they can walk out. People really like that fresh air and a nice place to work. So what we do is we provide abundant storage. So we have these kind of barn doors that our architect recommended. And behind that, then they can keep their file cabinet. So it looks really nice. Hardwood floors. We provide in all of our office suites a Eureka, which is referenced here, a Eureka ergonomic standing desk. And again, you don't have to do the same that we're doing, but these are those motorized desks that you press a button. You can't see, it's right over here. And then the desk goes up. So if you want to stand up for a while you're working, you can. You get tired, you can lower it down and sit down. Nice executive leather chairs. We're providing in all the office suites computers and monitors. We're actually getting new computers and monitors in. They were supposed to have been in already. They come in today, supposedly. We bought all of ours from Lenovo. So again, from your perspective, if you want to be a branch office, you can have the commercial addresses that are simply an address that your clients can use, your tenants can use, or you can actually lease out physical space where they actually come in, sit down, and actually work. That's up to you. Obviously, you'll need more room if you're going to have physical offices for them versus the mailing address. What we wanted to do is to really have a turnkey kind of incubator environment. So we're getting a really high end color laser printer. An important element of this is it has that high end scanning ability because most people want to have less paper now than they used to. So it's not just for printing. A big part of that is laser scanning. Everyone gets a card, so it links automatically to them. So when they scan, it goes to their email or their location. When it comes to internet, what we've done and what I'd recommend that you do if you're going to have a branch office is do not rely on wireless. It's fine to have wireless, but from a security perspective, we really want all of these computers to be hardwired, much more secure. But again, that's up to you. The storage we talked about, so we're providing, like I showed you at the barn door there, the storage. One of the things that we were told that people really wanted is enclosed parking. So we went ahead and incurred the expense of building an enclosed parking garage. And people wanted heated and cooled because a lot of you have cars like we have where you don't want your cars to get too hot or too cold. You want it in a climate controlled environment. So again, that's what we're doing with our commercial office. We could replicate that in your community. You don't have to do any of these elements. Also, what a lot of people told us is that they love to eat. So we actually built a full commercial kitchen in ours, and then we have a chef that comes in just for lunches, not 3 meals a day, of course, Mondays through Fridays. And so if you are going to have true offices where your tenants can come in, having appreciation events and providing food service is very valuable. I see Debbie has a question. She asked about for her branch off, or she didn't ask, she commented, she's looking at actually having a clinic, a health clinic. And that's a great point. If you have a bigger structure, you may want to have a health clinic in your office. So when people aren't feeling well, they don't have to go home, they don't have to go to another doctor or to another location for a doctor. So yes, Debbie, you can be as innovative as you want. Mr. Harris in Ohio, I think he's looking at having a full gym in his branch office building. That's a lot of expense, takes a lot of space, but if that's what you want to do, Mr. Harris, that's fine. Certainly, instrumental for any is a mail room because if they're using your branch office building for just an address, then of course the mail is going to come in to this location. And then what we do is we bundle it up and then we forward it to them weekly, usually on Wednesdays. So once a week, we forward mail. If you're going to have a branch office, even if you didn't want to provide physical space for people to come in to work, you'll definitely need to have a staffed mailroom because mail comes in and you have to be prepared because usually you'll be getting mail for your clients, your customers, your tenants via USPS, UPS, and FedEx. And so you may have 5 deliveries a day. Again, if you're going to provide true physical offices, providing the technology is nice. Or you could say, no, I'm going to provide you a desk and chair and have them bring in their own laptop if you want. And then, as I mentioned a moment ago, having events is nice. If you're doing in person, if you're going to focus more on commercial addresses but not actually lease physical offices out, you can actually have some of these events remote, like we're going to start doing this month. So let's get the notes back up. The goal today is to explore what you could do with your branch office and what we've done with ours. So as far as pricing, it's up to you. What we do is we just typically charge for mail forwarding if they're just using the commercial address. So if they're not coming in and actually working at the chair and working at the desk and looking out the windows, if they're just using the address, which is legally compliant, What we charge is $99 a month, and that's enough to cover essentially postage and handling, right? Because the mail comes in, we have to organize it, and then our mail room has to package it up and then forward to them weekly. So $99 a month is what we charge, and it's essentially break even. We're not in it to make money off of this. You could charge more or less if you want. If you're providing true physical offices, of course, you'd probably want to charge more unless you're really wanting to subsidize it. I know some of you like take Darris, for example, Mr. Johnson. He's like, well, is it worth it, right? So he's going to get, I would think, a commercial building in his community. And he's thinking, well, $99, that's not enough money to be worth the while. But it depends, Mr. Johnson, how many offices you have. So for us, we're at over 1,000, not quite to 2,000. But if you do the math on that, Mr. Johnson, if you had 1,000 tenants, let's assume, Mr. Johnson and everyone else, you're not doing the true physical offices, you're just providing a commercial address. So if you had 1,000 tenants, which we have, and I'm sure that we can get you that many through the model, then if you're charging essentially $100 a month, how much monthly revenue would you be generating from that? Who can tell me what the math is on that? So if we're looking at 1,000 tenants paying you $99.99 a month for a commercial address that you set up through the building you own that will facilitate financing for your branch office, what would your monthly income be just for that revenue stream? Uh, T. Jacques says 100,000 a month. That's right. I mean, you're looking at around 100,000 a month, 1.2 million off per year off of just this one revenue stream. So again, I know a lot of you are big hitters, and so an extra 1.2 million a year, not a big deal to you. But do you think that that will cover your cost of your mortgage to go buy this building to be able to implement this? Of course, I'm pretty damn sure you're not going to spend 100,000 a month on your monthly mortgage, right? So this is enough to cover your mortgage, your utilities, your insurance, your taxes. It's a great revenue stream, but most importantly, you're helping the community. So let's move on with the notes here. So at the bottom of the page, we just essentially have our contact information. We have a text support line. Some people like to call that. Like during our Zoom today, someone was trying to call it. That's craziness. It's a text support line. It's not answered live. So you can text us if you have questions, comments, concerns. If you need to schedule a call, we have a link for that. As far as our main website, which is 509pacific.org, that's where you could open a branch office if you want. Don't have to. This is where you get a free shelf corp. We rolled out yesterday the quick cash. So if you're looking for a quick 20,000, that's now on 509pacific.org as well. And then we have our recorded trainings on YouTube. So let me summarize and then see what questions that you have. So big picture, we're a nonprofit, received a grant, responsible for doing these three things. As part of that, we need to provide clients a commercial address. We do that for free. You may not want to do that for free, but we do that for free. For the lifetime of that shelf corp, we provide the address for free. All they pay for is just the mail forwarding. You could, if you wanted to replicate this in your community, we can help you set that up. We will need an owned building. Doesn't work with a leased building, but we can get you financing for that. We can replicate this model. It's not get rich quick. And for some of you, take Toby, for example, an extra 100,000 a month's not even going to change his tax bracket probably, but it is a good way to bring in some extra income. And this is, of course, not all that we do. You would be paid off of giving away the shelf corps. You determine that you're paid 5% of the client's capital raise. So there's lots of other revenue streams, but this is one that maybe you didn't fully understand. All right, let's see if there's any other questions or comments, concerns before we wrap it up. We got several Steves on, but one of the Steves asked about the vendors. So yes, so we have all the vendor relationships secured, although these are not the new computers. They're coming in today, but we've got a corporate account with Lenovo, so we can get either just you or to equip your virtual offices or real offices with Lenovo computers. As I mentioned over here, we're using Eureka Ergonomics. We have a wonderful young lady. Her name's Angie that can get you set up. These desks run right about 2,500 a piece, but they're great. And then they send people out to assemble. And these are solid wood, heavy, heavy, heavy. Takes 2 to 3 people to carry this or to put it together, but you're looking around 2,500 per desk, and then your leather chairs 500 to 1,000. We work with Mike over at Xerox so we can get everything set up for your branch office. So again, if you don't want to have space for people to come into your office, that's fine. If you don't want to replicate and have commercial addresses, that's fine. But I think you should consider it. If you're going to have a branch office in your community, why not go ahead and replicate what we're doing, offer unique commercial addresses there with out of your building. And again, it's not get rich quick, but we should be able to add about an extra 100,000 a month to your bank account. Anyone else have questions? Steve said he had some questions on quick cash we didn't get to. Yeah, yesterday was mayhem. We were literally moving in, and actually, I've not made the switch over. I'll switch over this weekend. So by Monday, I'll be in my office in the new building. But the bottom line is, yesterday was mayhem with the furniture. They delivered all of this furniture. All these desks came in. They sent them on an 18-wheeler. We don't have space for an 18-wheeler. So then we had to go get a truck or truck and service to shuttle it over. So yesterday was mayhem. So yeah, I apologize. Any of you that left messages, sent emails, texts, what have you yesterday, there probably was a slow response. All right, Troy's asking about the difference between virtual offices. So yeah, so let's talk about the layers and we'll close on that because that's a really good question. So what are the types of addresses? If I could type it. So what we don't want to use is a traditional virtual office that's shared, where there's just one address and they give that address to lots of people. So everyone has suite 100 or everyone has suite 1,000, whatever it is. We need a unique address. So the street address could be the same, but each have a unique suite number. That is instrumental. But as far as Troy's question, so from a traditional address, you have a physical office that you work out of. So if you want to set those up in your branch office, great. Obviously, we'll need more space, but we can do that. And then separately, there is the mail forwarding. And the mail forwarding commercial address is at the minimal level, I think what you would want to include in your branch office. So we know that clients need a commercial address to look credible. We educate on that. In our model, we provide the commercial addresses for free. All the clients pay for is the mail forwarding. So I guess there's a bit of overlap from one category to the next, but we'll work with you, Troy, and each of you that's opening a branch office, we'll figure out what you want to do, and then we can support you in getting that set up. You certainly don't have to reinvent the wheel. We have the vendors and the processes in place. All right. Well, thanks, everyone. Have a great weekend. Have a very productive August. We'll see you back Monday morning. If you need anything, text us 903-347-8042 or schedule a call. We'll talk to you soon. Have a good weekend. Bye-bye.